Hello, my name is Cadet Brendan Short, and if you're currently watching this, then I am on trip section to Picatonia, New Jersey, and this is my segment of the Tunisia Country Brief. So my partners have just briefed you on the history of Tunisia, to include how they were a main adversary for the Roman Empire, and also how they gained their independence from French colonial powers in 1956. They've also covered the culture of Tunisia, to include a little bit about their religious practices and the food there, and have led right up to the terrorist attacks that have recently occurred, which is where I'm going to jump in with my segment. So for my segment, I'll be covering the horse reading tie-in, which was Soundstage Tunisia by Jesse Dukes, and using that as a lens into the Salafist versus moderate political landscape in Tunisia. I'll also be covering kind of the State Department information that I've uncovered in my own research, and the military involvement that the United States currently has in Tunisia and how that pertains to our future. Beginning with the horse reading for today, lesson 38. So we read from Jesse Dukes, who is a travel journalist, and he's using the theater culture in Tunisia as kind of a lens into the country's political landscape. So the primary method that he had for writing this was to talk to a lot of the ground-based people who worked with those American producers to produce films such as Star Wars and Indiana Jones. The main appeal to these were Tunisia had a different landscape, kind of a foreign feel to it, and it was also a low-budget cost. So their ability to accommodate these producers led to them moving to this country and tying in that. So this became a big tourist destination. Now there's a lot of people that are traveling there. But this kind of is now at stake because of the current Arab Spring that was going on, which started in Tunisia, and the Salafist versus moderate political movements. So Salafist comes from the Arabic word salaf, which is defined by Oxford Dictionary as predecessor. So this is going back to the original 3 generations of Islamic heritage, and they're trying to take things back to how it basically used to be. So they're a radical form of Islam, back to that very conservative approach, and trying to do things such as outlaw homosexuality, which is the current law in Tunisia, and also go back to women having to be veiled and things such as this. The way that Jesse Dukes kind of ties into that is providing us more of a perspective on the moderate culture in Tunisia. And this ties into the culture that most Arab countries have of protecting the people that they see as being their responsibility in their home. So the current terror attacks on the Westerners in Tunisia were viewed by a significant portion of the population as a violation of that responsibility that Arab individuals have for protecting the people inside their home. Well, that Salafist movement, again, is tied in with the Arab Spring and that kind of callback to Arab nationalism throughout the Maghreb, and is also tied into ISIL, which is why the State Department currently has the level of vigilance being high in Tunisia for American travelers and restricts travel to certain locations. It also encourages travelers to remain out of any possibility of high protest areas, or to remain in areas such as hotels, and there's also a lot of violence that's going on, to include just simple crime. The political situation is pretty unrestful, so the police are tied up handling that, which is also something that we saw in the reading by Jesse Dukes. Going on with the military involvement that we have currently in Tunisia, and how that will affect our military careers to go forward. Tunisia was a French colony, as previously stated, and that means that the French speakers here at USMA will have a bit of a future there, if they so choose, primarily with the role of supervising and assisting training. So the United States currently provides $32 million worth of training to the Tunisian government, which is double that which it gave prior to the revolution. Also, Tunisia happens to be one of the few countries that has cadets at all the United States military academies, up to and including the Coast Guard. Also, the current situation between Tunisia and the United States is somewhat mixed, because they're considered an ally. They're not considered an ally, rather considered a close friend. Although President Obama has extended an olive branch to them in his 2011-2012 speeches, and there was also considerable support for his speeches in Cairo through the Tunisian government. This covers my section of the country brief on Tunisia. Thank you for your attention.